Okay, so hello everyone, and welcome to this webinar, Preventing Expatriation Failure, Turn Human Risk into Strategic Advantage. This webinar generated more than 200 registrations on LinkedIn, which is a strong signal that this topic, preventing expatriation failure, is becoming more and more important in 2026. So during the next 45 minutes, I would like to address this topic from a different angle and raise awareness about what is really happening on the human side during global moves. Then we will also look at the hidden cost of under-supported global assignments. And finally, I will share my approach to help organizations secure the journey of their global talents and their family with a human-centered change management approach. At the end, I will keep some time for your question. Of course, at any time of this presentation, if you want to discuss your situation more specifically, you can actually book a conversation with me. So my name is Anne Guslandy. I've been living abroad for more than 20 years now. I left France in 2003, just after I graduated from business school. And I thought I would stay in Shanghai a couple of years, but at the end, I had great career opportunities. I met my husband, I had my kids, so I ended up staying 12 years in Shanghai. Then we moved as a family, this time to New Jersey for 4 years. And in 19, we decided that we wanted to get closer to family, so we came back to Europe. And so now living in Switzerland. I work with expats for more than 10 years now. And during all these years abroad, honestly, I've never met an expat who told me it was easy. My colleagues, my friends, my clients, myself, we all struggled. I also, since September, I also interviewed almost 100 expats living in different countries. And I asked them, what are your biggest challenge? And their challenge, they really also struggle, and their challenge is really to make sure that their family is happy. Starting a life from scratch is not easy. We have to recreate everything, our support system, social networks, professional networks, our identity, our career. We have to always navigate the unknown. Most of the time we're alone. And trying to decode the do's and the don'ts of the country. Making always decisions in an environment where we don't know the rules. So it's pretty challenging. It's always a deep dive out of our comfort zone. And basically we have to learn how to dive. So your employee and their family, it's a big challenge for all of them as a family unit. So the statistic here, I want to share that with you. So 30 to 40%, actually, it's the percentage of failure for expatriation, which is pretty high. Among the 30-40% is 71% are attributed to partner dissatisfaction. Basically, the partner not happy, not finding his footing in the country. So let's unpack this. So we're going to see what's really happening on the human side of an international assignment. So first, we are going to take a bird eye view on the expat paradigm. The expat life cycle. It's composed by 4 phases: preparation, transition, adaptation, and settling down. This cycle repeats every time there is a move, and that includes repatriation, going back to the home country. We can't skip a phase. We all go through the 4 phases: the employee, the family, everyone. If we focus on the adaptation, because this is where expats are really challenged. So I'm going to share with you, so the expat adaptation curve, I'm guessing many of you are actually aware of this curve, but maybe some of you don't know about it. So in a nutshell, what is it? It's basically, it says that when you arrive in a country, you are going through a honeymoon phase. So basically, it's the excitement on the arrival, everything is new. Finally, this project becomes a reality. So you are super happy and excited. Then you have the phase number 2 that comes, which is the culture shock phase. And I'm going to go back on that one. And then after you pass this, then you adapt, you adjust, and then you, at the end, you're settling down. You're adjusting to the country. So I want to tell you the story of Floria. Because Floria, so her husband is sent somewhere. She's following her husband. And when she arrived here in Switzerland, at the beginning, she thought, no problem, I have a great career. I'm gonna find a job here easily. She had a young baby, so it will go to daycare, like she was doing back in her home country. And so she has a lot of expectation, and you were mentioning before expectation. And the problem is when the reality hits. So the honeymoon does not really exist because it's quite stressful actually when you arrive. Personally, I've never lived the honeymoon. It's not like going on holiday. So it's right from the beginning, it's quite intense. And then after, what we are experiencing is the reality check. And that is actually creating tons of emotion that coming. Frustration because things don't go the way we thought it would go. We feel homesick because most of them, we're alone. Floria was alone with her baby when her husband was working. So lonely. She started to doubt because she was looking for a job and couldn't find a job that fast. So it was pretty challenging. So, when it builds up slowly, then you start to resent the decision. You say, what the hell am I doing here? So Floria was really feeling guilty and really, you see, not in a good place. What happened is this culture shock, they're not a shock. It's actually all these emotions that piles up during 6 months, 1 year, depends. But all of this piles up until it explodes, until the expatriation fails. And so it's not a shock. And it's not about the culture itself. It's about our emotion, what we are going through. It's us going through change that actually drive us down to this slum phase. The problem is when we have to rebuild a life abroad, we need full of energy, full stamina. We need to take action. We need to be like having positive energy. So we see here where there is the struggle, all these emotions, but we need to have higher level of energy in order to recreate a life. This to tell you that your higher risk of premature return is during this period, which is, according to my experience, 6 months to 1 year. Depends of the country, depends of the people, but usually it's that during this period. And actually, before 1 year when people wants to go back. Why is it so intense? So first, just a normal move, is ranked in the top 10 of stressful events in your life. So you can imagine for a move abroad. And we have also that, according to the Research Center on Human Stress in Canada, they identified the 4 stress ingredients, not for expatriation specifically. It's really the stress in general, Like, what are the 4 ingredients of stress? And this is novelty, unexpected, threatened to ego, and sense of weak control. So when you read them, you say, okay, so when I go on expatriation, when I go abroad, basically you can see that the 4 ingredients are activated. They are here. So you have a full stress recipe. So this is why it gets so, sometimes it can get really intense. So we're going to see now the hidden cost of under-supported global assignment. So here we're going to do simple math. So basically, according to statistics, the cost for failed assignment is a minimum of 250K, and it can go up to 1 million. So it means that if we're working with the statistics from before, if you have 100 expats, let's say 50 families, 30%, so you remember, is the failure rate, 30%. So that concerns 15 families, and 70% of them are due to expats partner dissatisfaction. So which means you have 10 families at risk, let's say. So it means that potentially it's 10 times 250. We're talking about a risk of 2.5 million if nothing is done during this period, the high risk period of the adaptation. Okay. So this number is just to say that it's not small. So it's why it's important to be addressed. What is not in the data, but what is in the reality of companies is when the family is struggling. What happens is the employee, when he goes on an assignment, he's super motivated, he's super engaged, he knows he's going for one specific mission. And he's really struggling. That's what they share. Like they really, they want to make sure that their family is happy and also adapt well so they can actually complete their assignment. So there is this double pressure, which is really real. If the family doesn't go well, it means that it's a lot of mental charge. And we all know that when the mental charge is too high, that has an impact. We feel super stressed. And what happens is we can see employees' behavior change. They're losing focus, drive. They're basically losing also patience. So it means that the family not happy has a direct impact on the employee performance, on their leadership, because in order to lead well a team in a new culture, you really have to observe, learn, adapt, and this, if you don't have the mental space to do that, well, it will be impacted, and also your engagement at work. What I want to share here is a new approach, which is securing global mobility through human-centered change management. It's based on 3 pillars, which is readiness, powerful adaptation, and continuity. Usually, as an expat coach, I usually see the people when they are in the adaptation phase struggling, because I never see them before, because they don't anticipate that. They basically focus on the logistics. That's what is on their mind. But it's like the tree in front of the forest. They don't know what the journey is. So I usually see them here. And sometimes they're struggling so much, it's hard to reverse engineering the process. My goal is really you see the curve will still be there, because when we adapt, there is always an adaptation phase. There is always ups and downs. I mean, we can't change the challenge, but we can change how we react to them. So the goal is to have this curve, maybe not deep down, but maybe lower like this. So how do we do that? It's about being proactive and act during the preparation, employee and family. And then continuously, like having this powerful adaptation, like support along the way for the first 6 months, which is, I'm not talking about helpline. It's really, I mean, you're doing the cross-cultural, it's super nice. It's so needed. Language, so needed. I still remember when I arrived in Shanghai and I didn't speak a word of Chinese. That was pretty challenging. So this is really great support. But what is also what can be added to that is a powerful adaptation. So it's a program that really empower them, not being drained, not having their energy drained by all these emotions, but really supporting them on the emotional side so they can really take ownership of their expatriation and having the stamina to go look for a job, to manage the house, to manage the kids, and really own this experience and making it count for them as well, and not watching the 3 or 4 years abroad and not be part of it. And also after this move is really, because usually expats, they are serial expat, they continue. And so having this continuity, giving visibility is giving safety about what's coming next. So it's really having this thinking in cycle and in support, continuous support to really make expatriation a powerful strategic tools, because you're investing a lot on your employees. So they can be a human risk, but you can also make them a strategic advantage. They are the extension of the company strategy. So if they're able to perform well and to really be engaged, I mean, that will serve the strategy of the company as much as possible, right? They will be at their full potential. On top of everything that you're doing, if we can support all the emotional cycles, what they're going through, it really can make a difference on the performance and the engagement on the employee. It's like, if I can make an analogy and finish with that, that would be when you have, for example, a transformation project in a company, like you want to implement a SAP, like a ERP, like big thing. You just don't give the roadmap to the person and say, okay, go with it. There is a pre-work before implementation, and it takes a big chunk, right? So it's preparing the people, getting the buy-in, finally finding sponsors, like to make sure that everyone is aligned. And then when comes implementation, you have to manage the fear, also all the resistance of your employees to implement the software, right? So it's a little bit the same. If I can make this analogy, it's really preparing before, embarking them together, and then follow up with the implementation, follow up with the adaptation until they are settling down. What we are doing for the adaptation is we're empowering them to take ownership of their expatriation. And what they're learning, it's something that would be useful for any country. So if you want to book a conversation with me, you have the button like right here. And I would like to thank you for your attention.